morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Roma Street Parklands, which is just across the road here at Emma Miller Place, Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. My name is John McGregor and I'm from Foundation Expo 88 and the 25th anniversary of World Expo 88 People's Committee, and we're continuing our series of videos on the artworks from World Expo 88 that were given to us at the end of the Expo. And today's work is one of the more serious missing pieces from Expo 88, that is Gestation by American sculptor Baile Oakes. And as you can see, just across this way here, we have Emma Miller Place. We did do a previous video on this work, Gestation. It used to be in Emma Miller Place, but then has become missing for the past 2 or 3 years. I'll just let this truck go past so we have less noise. It has gone missing in the past 2 or 3 years. We've been trying to work out why it went missing. But we suspect now the reason why it's gone missing is you might be able to tell that we're just on a bit of on the front part of an overpass here, and apparently what's going to happen is they're going to take this they're going to construct an overpass to go directly up into Wickham Terrace. So the location or the sighting of Gestation in Emma Miller Place would have been in the way. And so we're here at the Brisbane Magistrates Court on this end, and they were going to take the overpass. They were just going to extend it right up to Wickham Terrace, which is that road which you can see just near that parklands over there. And anyway, in order to give us some continuity with Gestation, we requested a statement from the artist Baile Oakes, and just to put in your own mind a little picture image of what Gestation looked like. It was about so high, about 1.5–2 meters high. It rather like a round golden globe, looked like an egg. So maybe the title of the work Gestation is quite pertinent to that. And anyway, we have this artist statement. I'll read it out. It goes through several paragraphs, so please excuse me if I read it out in verbatim. So anyway, this is the Gestation narrative artist statement by the artist sculptor Baile Oakes. I strive to create forms with my sculptures that evoke a sense of balance and growth that is inherent in the natural world. My hope is that these works will help bring to the viewer a sense of the dynamic balance of nature that sustains all life. I'm inspired by what I refer to as the visual chord, the visual equivalent of a great acoustic chord evoking a feeling of balance and harmony. Some works of art and architecture strike this chord within me, bringing a sense of peace to my soul. Gestation was inspired at the time of the gestation period of my wife's and my first child. Throughout my career, this sculpture holds a special place in my heart. The structure of the sculpture follows a spiral path that is found throughout natural life forms and evokes the ever-present pregnant energy of life. Before knowing of the sculpture exhibit at the Expo, I had created a wooden model for Gestation and cast this model into bronze. The model was only 15 centimeters tall. However, I had photographed this model with the plaza in Los Angeles in the background, such that the model appeared as a monumental sculpture in the plaza. This photograph was then sent to John Truscott, and I should mention here, John Truscott was the artistic director for World Expo 88. John contacted me thinking that the full-scale sculpture was completed and asked whether I could make it available for the Expo. When he found out that it was only a bronze model, he commissioned me to have the sculpture created specifically for the Expo. Time was critical for all works needed to be transported in a container on a ship leaving Oakland, California by a certain date. To be able to make the tight timeline, I needed more professional help to create the sculpture. I contracted with an artist fabrication studio in Seattle, Washington to work with me to complete Gestation and have it in Oakland at least a week before the shipping date. I spent a good time commuting between LA and Seattle during this time period. The fabrication studio created a well-crafted and beautiful sculpture, but they underestimated how long it would take them to do such. Bottom line, they literally missed the boat. The sculpture was still weeks away from completion by the time the boat sailed away from Oakland. Needless to say, this was rather distressing to me. There was only one way that this sculpture was going to make it to Brisbane on time, and that was by air. So how to economically move thousands of pounds of bronze sculpture by air was the next challenge. After spending a week of phone calls steadily moving up the ladder with Qantas Airlines, I finally reached a man with the adequate power, clientele and desire to help the Brisbane Expo and I to give the okay to get the sculpture to Brisbane if it could fit in the nose of a 747. The sculpture was completed and the crate was made, and by great fortune barely fit into the front of the plane, clearing by centimetres. I arrived in Brisbane before the sculpture arrived to help with the construction of the foundation of the sculpture and installation. It was a welcome sight to see it go by the office on a flatbed truck in the next few days. Working with the Expo, John Truscott and his staff and his field crew was the most pleasant and accommodating experience that I've ever had in my career. Definitely a highlight in my life. When the Expo was over and I learned that Gestation had been acquired by the City of Brisbane for a park in the Civic Centre, I was very happy and honoured that it had found a place in the hearts and minds of Brisbane citizens. Gestation is the first in a series of monumental sculptures that are both in bronze and wood. Gestation III is located along the ocean in Palisades Park in Santa Monica, California. It is constructed in cedar wood and its centre is open to allow it to serve as a public seating area. The view of the sculpture directly toward the ocean forms a thin vertical aperture that frames the setting sun of the winter solstice, marking the timeline in the northern hemisphere that is the rebirth of the return of the sun, the conception of spring. It looks out towards the west of Brisbane and calls out to its ancestor currently sitting in a dark enclosed space. Gestation is a homage to the ever-present nurture and progression of the life force of our planet. I sincerely hope that it could once more take its place in the centre of the city and the heart of its population. I will do whatever is needed to help in this matter. Sincerely and with great thanks and respect, Baile Oakes. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Oakes, for that kind-hearted statement. We certainly hope to see Gestation resited and rededicated for the 25th anniversary next year, and we thank you for your efforts in bringing this about. Thank you and goodbye from Foundation Expo 88 and the 25th anniversary of World Expo 88 Business Committee, John McGregor, signing off.